Hello. You are listening to the Carroll Connection with your host, Jared Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Carroll Connection. I am your host, Jared Carroll, here to bring you guys another great episode. I did want to take a chance to shout out last week's episode 89, Be Intentional. I had my guest, John Sisto, return to the podcast for the very first time since, I think it was 40, I'm going to fuck up. I think it was 47. I've been actually right a lot of the time when I'm pulling stuff off memory. I've been right a lot of the time. But great conversation. We caught up a lot about the last ride detailing, which he does as his business. And we just kind of talked about the concept of being intentional with life, whether it's dating, business, just life in general. You just got to be more intentional with the way you do things. And I think that for me has been helpful in being a little bit more successful when I'm trying to do endeavors, kind of like a podcast. So for today, episode 90. Let me repeat that. Episode 90. I am 10 episodes away from 100. I can taste it at this point. I am so excited to do it. And I'm bringing back another former guest from episode 29, Kaylu.
What's up, everybody? Yep, episode 29. Don't forget it.
glad to have you back. And like, we've been fucking chatting it up.
Yeah, we
like
honestly, you guys already missed the podcast. You are late to the podcast.
Literally, all the juicy stuff's gone.
We're gone. We're going to be sitting here like, for the next, what, hour?
Yeah, we'll probably 45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes?
What I've been targeting. And
all right.
I'm going to try to pick based on the conversations we have. And like, when I'm bringing people back, I'm trying to like pick kind of like the concept or topic of the conversation as the name of the episode. So like, as we talk, like whether you point it out or I point it out, that might become the title of the episode. So like,
I love that.
You have a chance to name this episode while we're talking. So it's kind of a little bit pressure. Little bit. So Caleb, kind of catch everybody up on what you've been doing.
Oh man, I've been living, it's like this pandemic, it wiped me out as it did for many people.
Just scoot in a little bit too for the camera.
Ooh.
Should be good. Perfect.
All right, we're good. Yeah, so I'm back to work, which has been fabulous. I'm a person where if I don't have a million things to do, I feel like I'm doing nothing, So I got back to my job. I manage a paint bar in Providence, Rhode Island, Muse Paint Bar. Shout out to the homies. And it's been really, really good. We're super busy. Excuse my voice. I've been instructing all weekend, and especially Valentine's Day, let me tell you.
I bet that was a big night.
Ooh, I mean, no. Big month.
Month.
Try just gonna be busy for the next month. But so that's been really, really good. I'm like a interesting like extrovert and an introvert all at the same time. I need to be out there. I need to be like bam, 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 and then I need 3 days to like come into my shell and retract my energy, recharge my batteries before I'm ready to go again. But other than that, I've been just vibing. I got a new studio. That's been really good for the past year. I've been in this really amazing studio right down the street from my work. So it's amazing location. I'm in a group of a bunch of other talented people. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Getting involved with RISD, some Brown professors, everything like that. It's been really interesting just to have a house of like intellectual juice just constantly pumping. So that's been interesting. The art's been really going in surprising new directions,
You want to dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. Oh man, I've been like really. So for me, it's been art was like this odd thing where it was always there. When in hindsight, I can see how it all came to. I want to make art. I want to be an artist. But should I look at you or should I look at this camera?
You can look at me.
Look at you. Okay, I'm gonna look at you.
I was gonna flip off the camera, like fuck you guys.
It was like this whole feeling where I was like, everything in my life, I've always had this creative approach. It's been like the thread that weaves everything together when I really think about it. It's like anything I've ever done, there's been a really creative, abstract, kind of out-of-the-box approach to it. And I thrive in that kind of, that's just how my energy presents in this world. So just like finding where that fits, I feel like I was like late to finding my voice almost. I felt all this pressure. I didn't start painting until I was 20, And that sounds like I'm sure when I'm 50, I'm gonna be like, damn, I was so young,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt like I guess I get intimidated by that for a little bit, and there was like a lot of self-doubt where it's like, am I really gonna be an artist? Am I gonna make and I think since the last time we spoke, I feel like I'm at a good sense of security in what I'm doing, honoring my energy and taking the pressure off of, having to be prolific, having to be this, having to be that, having to be the next Picasso, and just like allowing life to happen, balancing a full-time job, although I do love my job very much, and then also having ambition to have an art career and having all these like creative juice and knowing that there's something there, but finding the time to really put it into the work, manifesting that career, getting, as running this beautiful podcast on the side of having that full-time hustle, finding that balance. I don't want to slack in my job. I don't want to lose my security. I'm not willing to do that at this point in my life. But I also don't want to forget about the dream and stop prioritizing it and give up on that because I got this fucking vision, I
100% agree with that. And like, I literally had my episode 88 where I titled it Feeling Stuck. And we talked about this prior, and like, you hit me up at the perfect point in my life. And like what we talked about too, in the DMs, just like where you were, and like, it aligned so perfectly, and you came in clutch too. Cause I had someone who had a family issue today.
That's what I do.
I wish you the best. I'm not going to say names, but, perfect timing. And like, I'm in that space too, where I was kind of feeling just confused about where I'm going to take this, feeling kind of some doubt about my own podcast, feeling doubt about my career, feeling doubt about my fitness. Like, I was doubting myself for a lot and being confused, like, why isn't it happening now? And I've talked on prior episodes about becoming more patient with my process because, and I've said this too before, you need to constantly remind yourself that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. Like, we're human. We're going to have things that pop up. They're going to knock us off our path, and that's fine. Learning to kind of accept that and just being willing to live in that energy has been something that I struggle with. And maybe it's the times that we live in too, where everything is now.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to kind of get to that place of the podcast. Like, having people come back on has been a little bit intimidating for myself, is like, because I have such a routine with new guests. It's like a formula of how the episode goes. So when I bring people back, and I've been excited to do it, I'm like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to be boring? And like, I get in my head a little bit. I'm like, and like kind of you mentioned off podcast, kind of just got to be. You just got to
let it happen. You know, it's like something that one of my friends like operates by is this intention of like, you set goals, but you really can't make plans all the time. Like I'm saying, like, obviously planning has a utility purpose, but I'm talking like life momentum. It's good to have a goal. It's good to be like, oh, I want to do this, and it's good to continue to strive for them and to not give up. Because I really do believe that success comes to the last motherfucker trying to succeed, and that goes for anything. But you got to keep that momentum going. We have to be able to keep moving through this life and be okay with our journey, and try not to have this expectation of what it should be, which is usually driven by comparing ourselves to others, right? It's like you could compare your podcast to, I'm sure, a bunch of other podcasts that inspired you to do this in the first place, but. And it's not that comparison. I think we were talking about this earlier too. It's not that it doesn't have a place or that it's a bad thing necessarily. I think it's just about controlling and being mindful of how much impact we allow it to have on what we're doing, our actions. Because when we're comparing our actions to a point, my partner, my amazing partner, Haley, she's been saying a lot to me lately that the best way to alleviate any anxiety is by doing. You can't do if you're all cut up in the meta, I was actually talking to the guy that runs my professor, but the guy that runs my studio is a RISD professor, so he deals with students all the time, art students, right? Conceptual thinkers. And he was going into how like a lot of these students are really amazing at like conceptualizing things in their heads, the meta, having like the vision of it, but then the execution, right? It's like there's like this weird thing where it's like we see that we can be book smart, but then the actual practice of like making art, doing this thing, that's separate. Those are different. Like they're connected. They exist together. They definitely coexist, but they are separate entities. Yeah,
I was actually reading a book. I forget the title of the book now. It's gonna kick me, but where it was like you have to. I think it was part of the book was breaking the habit of being yourself, and part of it is conceptualizing and creating this vision for yourself that you're going to get there, like it's already happening. And it allows you to kind of create, because we can create realities with our own minds. Like, just because it's not happening right now doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. Kind of like what you're saying. Like, you have to create
reality is perception.
You have to live in that energy, not be delusional. Because I think that's where a lot of people mess up, and like they act like, we'll say like influencers or something, where they act a certain way and be a certain way. And I think there is value in that. It just becomes a problem when it becomes part of the ego, and the ego can take over. And I think, as people, it's a balance.
It also becomes a problem when it translates to real, actual life. When we lose touch with, it's okay to, social media. There's many aspects to it, which is the game. There's a formula to what you're doing. There's parts of our humanity that are more attractive to the masses than others. And in any fame comes that image. It's not necessarily that we even know a single celebrity, but we know the image of that celebrity. And a good celebrity has like those iconic things that you just know them by. Yeah. That's when everyone knows them for this. Everyone, you could see that and know that singer, know that person, know that act. You know what I mean?
And that's something I've actually seen.
Branding. It's branding.
I've seen that with doing my TikTok, trying different content and what people want, what people don't. And TikTok's very niche oriented, so it's very hard to change content once you're already creating that type of content, because people are like, why aren't you posting that? Like, why are you posting that? And I've talked about this many times in the podcast, where I post more sad relationship breakup stuff. And like, I found when I was doing it, it helped me, but I didn't realize it was helping other people. People related to the content that I was making. And it divided a lot of my friends at the time, because they were like, stop being sad, dude. Like, why are you posting that? Like, you shouldn't post that. But what they didn't see was the people that I was helping. And I think a lot of people miss that on the social media. But when I tried to create more positive, like mental health stuff, people just didn't like it. The algorithm didn't push it. And it's weird to see an algorithm favor things that are more depressive and sad versus things that are mental health and happy. And maybe it's just my algorithm was already set on what I was posting, but I've learned to kind of create a separate space for it. Like, my podcast is more my mental health, more my positivity. And I've had people come over from TikTok, listen to the podcast, and be like, whoa, completely different person. I'm like, I don't think any of us are one-dimensional. Like, that platform is a place where I can be a little bit more emotional with my relationship status, and talking about the dynamics of dating from my experience and what I share out there. And people may or may not relate to that, but that platform has allowed me to express myself in a way that I've never experienced. So like, I'm creating different places for that. But I've seen that what you're saying is like, people kind of put you in a box and like they know you for that. And I'm like, I'm multidimensional. I have so many different parts of me that make me me.
That's true. But I was really like, it's like Nike, right?
Yep.
You see the swoosh and it's Nike.
Yeah,
you know what they're about. They're going to do athletic shit. Doesn't matter if they make a ball gown. It's going to look like Nike made it. That's like a good artist. So it's like, no matter what you do, no matter what you go and bring your energy to, because you are so secure in terms of not necessarily, you have to be this one thing, but there's like this essence about you that we've harnessed it, and that's what bleeds through. Some people just have it, there's like this just fucking thing about them. And it's like I have friends that are painters and they just have it. No matter what they paint, they could do a portrait of a dog or they could paint some crazy abstract surrealist, and I can just tell they've done it because the practice is there. The voice is developed. You think about singers, anything of the sorts. The effort don't lie. So once you get the niche of it going, once you get that juju, that motion within you, and it starts to translate fluently out of you into your medium, it doesn't matter what you do because you're bringing it that same energy.
That's why,
and the energy will evolve, but it's that person. It's 100%. Like a branding.
That's why I love having conversations with you, and I'll say this too. Like, you're gonna be so successful. I fucked that word up. Successful. Like,
you can say sexy. I know.
Facts though. But like, I could tell. I just relate with certain people that are on that same wavelength, and you're on that wavelength with me. And I that's why I think we can have such organic conversations just off the jump. Like,
I'm like a waiter though. Like, I've always known this about me. Like, it's like I don't even want it now. I've always just known that like my success is it's gonna just happen throughout my entire life. I hope I don't peak. I don't want to peak. I want to peak the day I die. I hope that's my peak.
Yeah.
I don't want to peak. And then because like I don't want that for me. I really don't. Like, it's not what I'm manifesting. It's not what I want. For me, success isn't even just necessarily succeeding being artistic. I don't even, fuck that. Like, honestly, I've been taking like time away from that because I realized how much internal work I have to do as a person. I'm just working on having a positive relationship with my partner right now and building up the friendships in my life and establishing my current work life. I try not to get so like Google-eyed, like, oh, I want the fame. I don't even want fame, but you know what I'm saying? Like the success of this art career, this elusive art career.
It's that vision you create. You don't want to get stuck in it.
I don't fucking want that shit because I don't want to be one of those people that finally gets famous and then it's like
peace out to everyone else.
No, not that, but just like it's like it doesn't matter because they have so many other areas of their lives that haven't been watered, haven't been nourished. It's like fuck that. I don't want success in this one area if I'm not well rounded. But I'm a well-rounded human. I am a little bit of everything. Yeah. I got my hand in every pot, you know? Some call it ADHD. I call it style. I don't know. But you know, it's like that's my way. I'm not saying it's the right way. No. But I'm saying that for me, I'm excited just for this. I'm just here to slowly ride it out and see what happens and make subtle adjustments along the way, fine-tuning, if you will.
Yeah, and I want to go back to this one point where you're talking about where people talking about like the brand almost that you're creating with social media. And I had a point recently where my TikTok got suspended and I was smoking on live and I shouldn't have done that and they got me.
I have no idea. I don't TikTok. Isn't that crazy?
I love the app.
I try.
It's my
I probably
favorite
look like grandpa up on TikTok. I'm like, which button goes back? I'm like, what are these kids doing? I'm like, I don't fucking get it. I've been on like 4 times. I haven't.
I know that shit like the back of my hand at this point. Like I love it. Like I'm so engaged and so deep into it. I love the app. I love the concept behind it. Do I love who runs the app? Not necessarily, but
I don't even know.
A lot of it's based. I'm not even going to get into it.
Yeah, let's skip it. I have no idea.
I don't want to get into it, but like the app itself is so genius because anyone could go viral and gain something from it. And I don't think there's any app that allows people that.
It's like
creativity.
Gambling, huh?
It's addicting. That's the dangerous part.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was like, I don't know. That sounds literally like playing the slot machine.
It is because like you never know when you're going to hit, and like once you get because I think and I saw a video like this today actually. It was like, why is posting after you go viral so awkward? And like. I've gone viral multiple times on my account where it's just like, I just post what I want to post. Once you get over that initial push, because a lot of people don't think they're going to go viral and then they do. And then they're like, whoa, I don't know what to do with it. But when my account got suspended, I initially obviously was upset because I worked over 2 years to get the following that I had on that. And I made a lot of great relationships and I thought it was gone. And I was like, damn. But then I was like, I was talking to one of my friends and he has a podcast, Ever Changing Vibe. Shout out Brandon. He's always talked about being undeniable. Like he's going to be undeniable. He's going to get it how he can, and he's going to be successful, and he's going to do it. And I kind of took that mindset. I was like, if you did it once, you could do it twice. So I had a second account, created it, started posting, viral. I've already got it over 1,000. I'm like, in my head, I was like, I can create good content. It kind of like not validated my own vision of myself, but like it made me feel like I can do this. Like I am a good content creator.
Where do you see yourself? What's like your vision of you?
Where I want to be or where I am now.
Not only that, like I don't know. It's not necessarily like there could be like overlaps in like the two, you know. But where like what do you look for? Like what you clearly like I can tell you like from talking about it, you love creating content, you know, you have like this eye for things, you clearly like connecting, talking to people, socializing. So like where do you see your career going from here?
I want, like I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that being able to create the platform and have a business aside with that tied to helping, whether it's mentor people or coach people, like we said, life coaching experience, where I can talk about based on my experiences and even guide people to, hey, maybe you should try therapy. I've done therapy. It's a great experience. And I would lean towards men because just me being a man, straight man, I want to connect with those.
You can connect with people that you have a similar experience with.
Yeah, and I think
I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
For me, I want to help those people because a lot of them have this internal struggle that is built up. A lot of the time, society teaches us, and I think we talked a little bit about this man up thing, and like it's a dangerous thing because it spills into relationships and even society where we're abusing each other. Like it gets down a deep, dark rabbit hole. And I would love to be able to help people kind of express themselves a little bit. And it goes back into the podcast, like having a platform where people can come on and just talk about themselves. We can have a conversation. And I've been inspired by other podcasts where they create this dialogue where it's just freedom. Like we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. There's no boundaries. Like we can go to these places and just like be real with ourselves. And I think that is what I envision myself doing, is being a place where I could talk about mental health. We could talk about fucking sports or art or music, and there's no constraints on what we want to talk about. And I want that for other people because I think I mentioned I love having people being seen and heard, because that's something that's kind of missing right now, is where we all have a voice, but like, it's like we're screaming into the void and no one's listening. And I want to make a platform where scream as loud as you want.
That's like my favorite thing about my job too. Like I don't know, I'm very comfortable. I love what I love most about my job is the fact that people come in and they are naturally unsure. Like not all of them, but most of them are just like, what the fuck? I haven't painted in such a long time, right? So I almost get to see these people tapping into this inner child, right? And for me, it's like an opportunity because they're already out of their comfort zone, doing some shit, painting some Picasso ass shit that they never thought that they were gonna. Right? They were like, oh my god, like look at me go. Like I haven't painted forever, but it's like there's like I see it. There's like this little tiny bit of this child that's like, when's the last time I've done something that I don't know how to do? When's the last time I've been in a position where I have no clue what's going on? I'm at the mercy of this person on the stage I just met that's like being like, oh, you'll be fine. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to make happy little trees. It's going to be great. You know, shout out to Bob Ross. I'm sorry I rip you off all the time. Literally so sorry. I watched his documentary. I felt so bad. He was like, people just rip me off. I was like, I'm one of them. But, you know, I just love this opportunity, though, to kind of break through those barriers in people of what they thought were possible. Because most of the time, our customers do a really good job. Because a lot of painting is common sense. You know, it's like, I don't know, you want it lighter, add white. You know what I mean? You want it darker, let's add some of this, some of that. Like, it's not blending, make sure your paints are wet, right? It's like, they're not going to mush together if they're not wet. So let's take care of that, you know? And there's so much common sense with it. And then watching them do this thing, be successful at this thing that they didn't even think they were going to be successful at. Not all of them are successful, you know, but a good portion. The people that try, I can say, if they actually attempt it and don't like, oh, fuck this, I'm really bad anyway. Like, I get that attitude all the time. And I'm just like, you know, I can't force people to give things a shot and to actually be invested. You can't control people like that, you know?
Yeah.
But when they do try, there's like this little sparkle of like, what else am I capable of? And I love that because I think greatness is inspiring greatness in others. And I definitely am ripping off Kobe Bryant. But, you know, it's all good. It's all good.
When I make my quote, that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to use your name, though. I'm not quoting Kobe.
Yeah, right? I'm like...
K. Lou said that shit.
I definitely heard that from Kobe, but whatever.
But that's what you said, though. What you said there is exactly what I've noticed when I've done the podcast is when I talk to people and I dig deep about their passions and what they love, that sparkle, you see it every time. Like, and that's what I love about doing this. It's like when you're talking about just teaching people, being a leader, talking about your artwork.
Oh man, leadership.
You light up differently. Well, we can dive into leadership right now.
I love leadership. All right, I'm learning. I'm a student of leadership. I thought I naturally will assert myself in situations I always have. I'm very outspoken. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But I had to start learning how to lead because all of a sudden I was managing people. I have a team of 9 or 10 people right now. It could be 8 to 10 people right now. But what we do is a very niche thing. You know, I get people in. It doesn't even matter if they're good artists. It's like knowing how to host up to 50 people, 46, 50 people, teaching a painting, being able to do bar service, run food. Like knowing this job, it's such a weird job. It's such a unique job. It's such a hustle bustle job. There's so many elements to it that teaching people and coaching them and working with them on public speaking. You don't only have to be an artist and informed as to what you're doing. You have to be real, you know, you have to have a personality. You have to know how to present yourself. You have to know how to captivate people. You have to know how to be encouraging, but also there's a lot that goes into it, you know? And so figuring out how to hold people accountable and but not so accountable that they're not artists and fun in themselves. But then also trying to be encouraging while also acknowledging hey, this is an area of improvement we need to start focusing on. And then also being oh shit, I need to improve on this area, you know? All of that together, I was kind of freaked out, you know? I'm really good at being a friend. I'm good at leading in a friendly way, but I'm not really good at being the person, or I wasn't good at being or used to being this person that upheld the standard. necessarily. I was really good being like the second man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the good
That's
cop.
hard. It's hard.
Like the good cop parent. You know
it's
what
hard
I mean?
being the person to hold people accountable. It is hard being that, and that's a skill that we have to
Without
learn.
being like an authoritarian, because that's not my style.
Yeah, no.
You know, I'm like a people person. I put the human first. I'm like, what's your problem? Let's figure it out, you know? And I came across this guy, Simon Sinek. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not. So
His shit on leadership is incredible, impeccable. I'm not going to say the man isn't like that. I've agreed with every single thing he's ever said. I don't agree with I don't agree with everybody on every topic,
Yeah,
you
no.
know, but he's really amazing. He's taught me a lot about the difference between managing and leading. Because I think a lot of people think that if you manage things, like you can manage people, but that's controlling people. People don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be controlled. Do you want to be controlled?
hell no.
Hell no, right? Guiding people, especially like in a workplace, being like, here's your job. This is the best way to do it in these terms, you know? That's different. People need leadership. People need guidance. People need, you know, somebody to be like, here's the plan, you know? Let's go do it. You need a coach, right? Like any good team needs a coach. So it's like a matter of figuring out, what do I manage? What do I lead? Where do the two things, where do you draw the line? And I've had a lot of success in trying to manage the objects in my building, like manage the building, manage the kitchen, manage like the physical pieces of this that, you know, uphold what we do here, and then lead the people that run it, you know, connect with the people that run it, get to the bottom, because people are people. And this is so radical in, you know, in workplaces, but if you treat people like people and you empathize with people like people and you help them and they sense that you're actually genuinely caring about them and wanting to help them, they will be the best employees they could be. It's so funny because that's what we want. We just go about it through a punishing, totalitarian, you know, like lens, and it's not needed. It doesn't even actually yield the highest result.
And I've noticed that a lot in the workplaces that I've worked. I work in more corporate, like finance, accounting settings, and like you see that all the time. And people, and like my boss said it the other day when we were in our one-on-one, is people don't leave just because of one thing. It's usually a multitude of things. And a lot of the time, those companies, they just look at people like an employee ID. And that goes exactly to what you're saying. When you treat people like that, you're not going to get their best. Like, I'll be the first one to say, when my companies don't treat me well, like, I get that kind of attitude where, like, why would I give them my all when they can't even give it back to me? Like,
exactly. But it's not even like I can't control what my company does on every aspect. Yeah. You know, I work for a large paint night company that has over 300 employees, you know, it could be even more at this point. So that's large for paint night, if anybody was wondering. Paint night's a little bit of a niche thing, you know, but I definitely think that connecting with my people, it's not that I'm perfect. I have a lot of things to work on. I've been a bad leader. I will make a call that serves myself. You know, I'm trying not to. I'm being honest with myself when I make those bad decisions, when I act out of conduct, when I'm not a respectable person that's going to hold it together. I do try to, you know, hold myself to that thing, as we were talking about, a really nice quote, just to be lenient with others and strict with yourself, you know? If I'm not, you know, pulling my weight, like today I was like a little drained, I'm not gonna lie, going in there, but I was like, damn, I gotta like really pick it up because they rely on me to set the example as to what we do here, you know? And I appreciate my team so much because they give me the opportunity to experience this, you know? In so many ways, they lead me to be a better leader, you know?
I said that's a lot of good traits to being a leader, is to know that people are relying on you. And it's like, I need to hold myself accountable, and there's a standard that I must uphold so everyone else can be in their best self too.
But it's been interesting too, because there have been moments where I'm like, you know, I'm spread thin. I'm a human.
Yeah,
I got my shit to figure out. I'm not perfect. And there's been times where, you know, they've been excited for me to lean on them because about how many times they've leaned on me, and I've been like, yo, I got you. It's all good. We'll figure it out. You know, it's like, we have that rapport with each other, you know, and it's not perfect. There's been hiccups. Like I said, professionalism is something that you have to learn if you are intending on being an employee. Honestly, maybe in life in general, right? Knowing how to edit yourself is something that my boss told me. Learning how to edit yourself. It's not that you can't be yourself. It's just that there are some things that aid what we do as a business. There are personality traits that I have that just naturally fit that. And there's things I got to deal with that are better left outside the workplace. It's not that they don't matter. It's not that they're not important. It's just that they get in the way of the workflow.
Boom. Because I had to stop the camera and glide it back. But exactly what you're saying too. How do I put this? Lose my train of thought. Fuck. That fucked me up.
talking about professionalism, just like the places that it serves.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. With professionalism and editing yourself, I think that's so important because when I'm in these work environments, especially this corporate atmosphere, sometimes it does bother me when I can't speak as freely as I want to, but then you peel that layer back and it's like, there is some type of etiquette that we have. I'm not going to say where I work, but I've told you kind of off record of where I work. So like,
oh shit, should I have not said where I work?
No, I just personally don't. I mean, I'm talking to you, so I'm talking about your life in general,
Sure.
and you're comfortable doing.
Well,
that.
you're editing yourself because this is currently your profession.
I try to keep my workplace, my career, and my podcast separate. I don't want to intertwine those two. It's like business and pleasure. I don't want to mix the two. I like to keep them separate. Like this podcast is my pleasure, and then I got my business.
But that's exactly what we're talking about right there.
Literally.
That separation, you know. I used to have this mindset. I think it's very common of young people too, like fresh out of college. It's like, this is me, whole deal or nothing, right? And it's not that I'm not like that. Like I am so myself all the time, even at work. I'm just like this version that isn't gonna like stir up a ton of waves, you know? And I don't know if I necessarily like that. I like to stir up waves, historically speaking. I'm a wave stirrer, you know, if that could be a term. But I like my job right now. You know, I'm trying to keep it for a little bit, for sure. You know, I enjoy my team and I'm willing to do it for them more than anything. I want to set the example. I want them to be successful in the arena that we all have to play in right now. You know, I want them to see what a successful leader looks like. A manager can be compassionate, can put the people first, and still get the job done. Like I'm trying to figure out how to best navigate that. It's been very difficult, you know? It's an internal thing that I've been just really working on myself because there's been so many areas where I've either felt disrespected, overstepped, or like I didn't have control over a situation. And then some things where I'm like, do I need to control that situation? How much of that is me being a micromanager? And like, how much of that is me taking parts of my personality, like maybe my anxiety, stuff like that, and allowing them to leak into this setting that's affecting all these other people, you know? So it's just kind of like trying my best to figure out what is, you know, and not being so quick to act. That's been huge, you know. I'm a reactive person, I found out.
Same.
I'm not trying to react. I'm not trying to react to every little thought I have, every emotion I feel, every little this, every little that. I'm trying not to be like, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. It's very easy to nitpick, you know. But I've been trying just to kind of like really watch things unfold, see where people are at, see what's going on. And this is like life that I'm talking about now, you know. Fuck the workplace right now. This is just like how I've been trying to approach my life differently because exerting an emotion and having a reaction to those emotions, that takes a lot of power out of me, you know?
Yeah, I think I kind of came to me what the title of this episode might be, but based on what we're talking about is kind of being patient with life, being patient with the process. Like it's
I'm just vibing.
And I think that's the huge part is once you kind of accept life and like enjoy it and live it and experience it, all of it, that's when things start to become fun again. Like getting back, and we talked about this repeatedly, getting back to that inner child, experiencing the joy that we felt and discovering new things, trying new things where we were kind of like not as exposed when we were younger, but like obviously getting back to that where we try things without the fear of being judged by other people so harshly, letting that fear go and just being your authentic self and whatever that version is right now.
It's hard though to be an authentic self. Like first of all, even like figuring out how to tap into that, it's very difficult, you know. Just unpacking that, getting there's so many things like the last time I was on the show, you know, I hadn't even realized that I'm non-binary, you know, that was a realization. That was something within me that looking back, yeah, now it all makes sense. Like now I feel more authentic. I don't even really care anymore. Like that first episode, I remember being, oh, how am I going to sound? How am I going to do this? You know, it's not that I don't care how my words make people, even this platform, right? Anytime there's a platform, there's a responsibility, not to quote Spider-Man, but you know, with great power comes responsibility, you know, of course. Even in management, you know what I mean? There's responsibility there. I took on the power. I have to be responsible with it, you know? But unpacking that, accepting that, it's allowed me to honestly vibrate at a frequency where I can uplift others because I'm comfortable in my skin, right? I can tell when other people have more of their journey to figure out, and I can be that comforting person where I'm like, hey, you know what? It's okay. You know, I got you. Right now, this is a safe space. I'm not going to judge you, you know, all of that kind of stuff. has really been shifting the way I make friendships. And I've noticed a positive change in my life all around, the way I feel at work overall, the way I feel in my personal relationships. Even now, I'm starting to, so I'm like, okay, I like tone it down for a second, because once I get on a track, it's like a nice train just.
I was gonna say though, but like, you were your authentic self then. That's who you were, and like that's why I said right now.
But I'm like more connected.
Yeah, and I think we're on a journey of being connected with ourselves. It's always getting back and healing the parts that were hurt, whether it was generational or whether it was through childhood or through that bad relationship or whatever it is, maybe a death in the family, whatever. We're trying to pick the pieces back up and put them together.
It's acceptance too. It's acceptance of the self. It's acceptance. I, as a queer person, came out when I was 15. I didn't come out. It just happened. I just fell out the closet, as I like to say. I was like, I really tried. Like I should have got a Grammy. I really tried not to be gay. Like, let me tell you, I did everything in my power not to be gay. Ooh, it was tough. When I realized that the cat was out of the bag and everyone else knew, I was like, oh fuck, that's embarrassing. No, it's not. But I was going. I was going through a lot. I shouldn't say that was embarrassing. But I'm just saying I really did try.
That's what you're feeling though. That's real. That's all. That's like
it was like this weight that lifted for me though. It's like this weight when you finally just embrace this thing that you were so terrified of within you, or not even terrified of, maybe unaware of. I don't know. As we experience life, we have more things. I anticipate throughout my life constantly changing my mind, reevaluating the way I identify myself, identify in the world, see things, perceive things. I think that as I continuously walk this very winding path, there's so many things that come to the forefront that I could have never anticipated. And that's why you never make a plan. You can't anticipate everything coming. But you do have to set goals. You do have to be prepared. You do have to do the work.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And I've kind of learned that in my journey recently is like trying to be so rigid on where you want to go with life is not healthy for yourself, because when you box yourself into that place, that's when, and then you don't hit those goals, or you don't stay right on plan, you start to fall back and you want to do it less and less. And that's when you become a little bit less consistent. You start working a little less hard. And that's where
it feels unobtainable.
Yeah,
it feels discouraging.
Like you can't grab it anymore. And it's like fleeting. And like,
or you're comparing it to that high of a feeling when you had that first understanding, wow, I could be this, I could do this.
And that's why a lot of people fail, is because they will see this thing, and like I think with podcasting,
kind of New Year's resolution mentality.
Yeah, a lot of people with podcasting, and I think the number has been like 10 episodes and then people fall off because it's not easy to stick to something. Whether it's fitness, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's podcasting, whether it's streaming.
I'm a consistent follower-offer. I want to speak for all the people that fall off with me, But you get back on. You got to get back to it if you want to. There's things that I've never done again. And that's okay. That's okay. You can. I haven't gone scuba diving. I'm not to say I'm outright lie. Like I've been scuba diving. I'm not going to scuba dive every day. I've never been scuba diving, but what have I done once or twice? Parasailing. I've gone parasailing twice. I've done parasailing. It's not something I'm like, yes, this is my thing. I'm going to do every day. But it was something I enjoyed. I would do it again. Not everything is going to resonate like that. I'm sure if you painted, you'd be like, oh, this was cool. I had a good time. Maybe you wouldn't, but maybe you would. Yeah. Doesn't mean you're going to feel like that drive, that impulse to paint every day. That's just the way we be.
Yeah, we all experience different things. And we all have different
diversity here.
Yeah, you have to try new things.
I think something for me is just diving deep. I've been really just going at it in myself and realizing my own internalized homophobia toward myself and how that was getting in the way of me being afraid of being myself. This constant, I was listening to my dialogue. I started journaling a few years back. I've again fallen off, but I'll get back to it.
I've done that too.
Don't worry, I'll get back to it. But I remember when I was journaling like every day, there was a really negative stream of dialogue. It was actually after our last episode. And it just made me realize that I have so many things that for as much learning as we have to do in our life, we have to do a good amount of unlearning too, within reason. I think that we all learn these things to an occasion where it's like, wow, this is like a dogmatic way of thinking. We've been taught to look at things this way. And it's so ingrained into us that we don't even realize that it was taught, that there's other ways to look at things. And just kind of like taking the time to really dive into that, it's been something that has freed me to be myself, to make more authentic connections with people, to be a better friend, to be a better partner, to feel better when I look at myself in the mirror and be like, wow, I like that person. I can't say I've always liked myself. I'm envious of people who just have this unwavering self-love. But I'm like, damn, I'm envious of them. I wish I felt that confident in me. So even understanding that that's something I have a journey that I needed to embark on and stick to every day. Even saying this publicly right now, talking to you, it reminds me of, let's get back to that. Why do we love ourselves? Self-hatred, it doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't matter how it got there. It doesn't matter. I think we can all benefit, unless you are like truly tapped into the divine, I think we can all benefit from asking ourselves, like, do we love ourselves? What do we feel confident about? What do we need to work on? I think it's also okay to be like, oh, I suck in this area, man. I need to do this more. I need to do that. And still be like, but I love myself. There's days where I'm like, damn, I suck,
No, I agree with that. And I think that's a huge thing to admit. And I don't think enough people admit it. Because like I go through that same process and I've done it with the podcast where I'm like, damn, like I don't even know if I want to do this. Or like if I'm working out, I'm like, I don't really want to do this shit. Like, and I struggle with myself, and I'm like, then I'll look at myself in like a negative way, and it's like getting back to where we are as people and loving ourselves. And it's the hardest journey that we have. And even going back to what you said, where these things are taught to us, a lot of that stuff is, I forget the age ranges. I know it's like obviously from 0 to like, obviously we're forever learning, but like those, I want to say the first 5 to 7 years,
5 to 8, yep.
That is where a lot of that stuff is internalized and then pushed into our subconscious, and we don't realize it. And once we get to the places where we are as adults, when these behaviors keep reoccurring, then for the few of us that actually acknowledge that and want to work on that, then we start to understand, where did I learn this? Why do I hold on to this belief? And then when you unpack those things, that's when you can make real positive change for yourself.
Well, you just understand that, like, we all limit ourselves to an extent. I think that might be like the biggest plight of man, is just that limiting factor where we feel like, okay, this is what we are, this is what we've seen, this is what we can be, here are your options, right? But it's like our brains are so capable, and we are such an intelligent species. Even the dumbest human is still intelligent. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. Oh my gosh. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like, as a species, like, wow, obviously some cats be smarter than, my cat's too smart. My cat be pulling antics every day. Oh my gosh. Screaming at the middle of the night. I'm getting off topic, but ooh, I'm just thinking about her. She's going to be mad at me. I didn't pick up her wet food. What am I going to do?
Oh man, you're in trouble. I want to at least offer this talking point, because I know you you mentioned it to in our DMs, like your partner, and like you didn't get a chance to mention.
Oh my goch, my partner is my rock. Let me tell you that.
Let's dive a little bit into that, and like the dating aspect. I've been getting a little bit into that with different people. So
yeah, okay. So my partner Haley, incredible illustrator. We started working at Muse together when we were both just artists there. She's currently working with the creative department now. She's doing graphic design for the company, and she still teaches now and then when we need coverage. She's incredible, dude. She's the best. Like, it was so funny because I remember when we met, we were friends, right? And we connected immediately. But I was like, oh, this is in love, because my experience in love had always been toxic and just it had like this negative, like these volatile almost emotions that went into it. And I'm not saying that I haven't had previous partners that were also amazing in their own, right and whatnot, but I'm just talking about the energy. It was so effortless to be around her that it was like, there's no way we're gonna be together, because I don't date girls that make me feel like this, or I don't date people that make me feel like this. And then she wore me down. She really brought me on dates. She was like, I'm going to bring you to Salem. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to whatever. We started hanging out all the time. I realized I was calling her all the time. And then one day it just clicked. And it was November. Oh my God. I'm in trouble.
No,
I'm in trouble.
I'm going to say, don't even say anything. Just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it. You know what? Like,
She's gonna listen to this. She's gonna kill me.
Yeah, she's gonna kill you. But like, don't dig yourself a grave that you have to You're gonna dig it.
No,
I'll open the door for you. You can go through that door.
I'm just
trying to
blanking
help
because
you.
I'm nervous.
I'm
I'm
trying to
just
help
blanking
you.
because I'm nervous. It's okay. We be good. If I'm like, this is actually like we break up after this. This is your fault. No,
I'm
like, this is the
it.
best relationship of my life. Anyway,
But I want to dig into that a little bit too, because like I love hearing other people's talk about their relationships, because I've been open. I struggle. Like this one aspect of my life that I've definitely struggled with. Was it hard to like kind of like accept that honest like freedom of just love that someone truly is just
oh
like
my God,
loving you like
so
that?
hard. I'm still uncomfortable with it. It makes me uncomfortable. I have like reactive attachment, I guess, or something of the sort. It's like, I'm like, but I'm trusting it way more now.
Yeah.
There's so much things like when I tell you, like, I ran home after work. I didn't even have to go home. I just like wanted to see her, you know? She's my best friend. We hang out, we do nothing. We do the stupidest shit together. We, you name it, we're into it. It's just so cool because while we definitely do our own things, like we're into our own, you know, areas. She's super in illustration. She loves to dance, stuff like that. But we have like found these like really beautiful little common grounds where I'm gonna take a dance class with her. She wants to get into tennis together. These are things I probably wouldn't have gotten into. Conversely, like she goes climbing with me all the time, and you know we have like our studio. She has like a little section in the studio. We make clothes together, and it's just like this really cool thing where we just really vibe. Like she's my best friend. She's my romantic partner. She's like the person. She's like my hype man. You know, she's never, ever, ever, not once has this person made me feel like I am not worthy of the most love ever. And that's been a huge game changer for me. Huge. I wanted that unconditional love. And then when I had it, I doubted it. The first like few months of our relationship, I was almost banking on it ending. I was like, well, this will serve its purpose, and then you'll see all the flaws in me, and then we'll break up, and it will be a whole thing, and then I'll be sad about it, and then I'll make some art and get over it and go live my grumpy, you know, starving artist life, you know? I don't know. We got a house together. We got a home. We got a whole life together. We have jobs together. We travel together. Like, it's so effortless. I'm so excited to get out of here to go home with her, you know? Like, that's how I feel every day.
I'm honestly so happy for you, and honestly, a little jealous of that feeling, like that you're going home. And I know eventually it'll come, and I get it. Like
I'll tell you this too. It's like I think I have friends that are like, damn, I want something like that, right? I wanted something like that so fucking bad when I didn't have it. It hurt not to have it. I'm a relationship person. It's not even that I don't think that, you know, some people aren't. I am when I know I am like meant to be in a committed relationship with a person that I love. I know that. But it was hard not to have it. And like, just like I remember being like, wow, I'm going about this all wrong. I need to truly just invest in the things that I love to do and put myself in social settings where other people that love to do what I love to do are also doing that, because then you're like connecting. And it just so happened we both worked for a very odd company. Like I said, it's pretty niche. So the personality types that get hired there are all kind of like in that same quirky artist vein, you know? I don't know, just happened. You know, I'm so grateful to my company for that. It's hard not to love a company when you're like, damn, you gave me my living, my healthcare, and my wife. Are you kidding me?
That's the best of everything. It's like,
damn.
I think that's a good example too of like, especially now where dating apps are everything. Everyone uses them for whatever they use them for. And it's that, I think the problem with me is that I want it so much that it doesn't come to me a lot of the time. You need to let it just kind of happen. You need to put yourself in those situations.
I remember when I was like looking at it, I was like, damn, I need to find a partner. I was like, almost like I need to find a partner. Like, what's happening? I was like, you know, I just remember, I don't know where this advice came from. This is probably not credible. Again, I always like to tell people when I'm like, this is just like, I'm just going to put it out there. But it's almost like you have to date yourself first.
No, yeah.
And I'm a huge advocate for that. To this day, I think it's still important to date myself first. Because if I don't want to date myself and take myself out on dates and do things with myself, how the fuck can I expect someone else to want to do that, you know?
No, I 100% agree with that. It's like, how can I expect someone, of myself, if I want to be a husband for someone, I have to learn what it takes to be a husband. And like, I need to date myself, figure out what I like, and then put myself in those situations to find people who also maybe enjoy something, and we can have that. That's where you form that connection, like you just said.
And that's like that patience too. But I mean, it is hard to like wait out for something, and then it's hard to not be, because it's almost like you don't want to be thirsty for it, because you don't want to settle with somebody that comes along that's also thirsty for it. You don't want your common the most common thing you guys have in common is that you were both thirsty for a relationship. Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that they don't want that person. They want a relationship. And this person happens to also want a relationship. So they're going to stick it out together. I mean, I've seen a lot of my friends, my own siblings, like, things of that sort, get involved in toxic relationships and hold on to it for the fear of not having one.
Yeah, no, I think
it's fucked up.
I think that's facts.
It's tough. It's tough. Especially when you are a person that feels better coupled. You feel more secure when I speak for myself. The only reason I can speak this truth is because I am this person, you know? I feel better coupled than I do independent. I had to fight myself tooth and nail to try to not get involved with people. And I still got involved with a bunch of different people I shouldn't have got involved with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say shouldn't have, because I needed to at the time, Yeah,
for sure. We all go through that experience too, of trying to experience people.
But I remember asking my friends, I had these beautiful relationships with their lovers and whatnot. And I was dating people that were they're not bad people, but they weren't people that made me feel on top of the world all the time. They weren't people that my energy just and it was sparks, everything flying, But I remember asking one of my friends, hey, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with your husband disrespects you? How do you deal with your husband? She was like, we don't do that. And if we do, we squash it immediately. Of course, Haley and I have gotten in arguments, not necessarily arguments. I'm not even gonna say that. We've had spats. Most of the time it's me acting a crazy, we always joke. I'm K-Lou, K-Money when I'm feeling it, when I'm in my hustle, I'm K-Money. And when I'm cuddly, they call me K-Walla up in here. And then sometimes I'm K-Razy, I know, I'm not even kidding. It's this little thing goes off and I'm it's nuts. And so sometimes when I'm being too K-razy, when I'm like feeding into that a little bit, I say shit I shouldn't say, you know, or I operate from a place of trauma, and I can see, you know, my own example growing up. My parents didn't have a great relationship, so I can see that seeping through. And my sister and I have talked a lot about that because we both had toxic relationships in our past, and just how that vision of love, like that dynamic that we witnessed, that most close example of what we had of what an adult looked like, you know, and how adults treat each other and how you treat your partner. It seeps through. It's nasty, you know?
No, 100%. Perfect. That's why I always lead my podcast with family dynamic, because I want to understand how people's relationships work to their family. Obviously, whatever they're comfortable with sharing to a certain degree. Obviously, it's a public platform, so I don't want them to feel like they're exposing too much of their personal life.
No, I love my girlfriend, though.
But I think you're right. Like, what we see with our parents seeps into our own dating life. And I don't think people acknowledge that enough, because it goes back into what's being taught when we're young. Like, it all stems from there, and, like, what we're attracted to, what we see. Like, I think they always say that you're obviously, like, for me, like, I look at my mom and, like, I'm attracted to someone like my mom. Like, obviously not attracted to your own mother, like, obviously.
No, but I mean, listen. We go back, you know, psychology. It goes way back into that. That's some Freudian shit, you know.
Yeah, it goes to, like, animal instincts type shit. Like, there's so
yeah.
deep.
There's nothing inhuman about that. That is the most human shit ever, you know. I think that something that's just that was foreign to me, something I didn't understand, was what that unconditional love looked like. I know a lot of, like, you know, some people might have the privilege of knowing what that is, and so therefore don't have to go through these toxic relationships. I did notice that in my friends that come from more, you know, wholesome families in that sense, where they have that healthy example. They don't have that messy dating past that I have. And I'm going to own it because I'm so proud of it. It's gotten me to this point where I can now identify that as, okay, I have to do extra work in this department. If there is anybody who I would be willing to put all that work in for, it is this person. She inspires me every single day to be kinder, more compassionate to myself. She's, like, single-handedly, like, really just made me realize that I didn't love myself for a long time, and that these actions are not indicative of self-love. And just having that constant, like, it's not even like we have these conversations where we're like, love yourself. It's like the nuances. It's like the everyday little mannerisms, how we wake up, the times we spend just to be together, like all of those little things, like that's what it's built on. That's why it's so strong. And, like, it can transcend anything. You know, it's inspiring. She's the past, we've been together for about 2 years now, a little bit over 2 years. And it's just like my transformation, the healing. It's been incredible just being with this person. I've never healed with somebody like that.
I love hearing that, and, like, it's fucking amazing. And I want to start reeling this in and then
Sure.
doing our last wrap ups. Has been a fucking fantastic podcast.
Oh, good.
I love the back and forth where it's not so much questions. It's just us having dialogue. That's a conversation. I love that.
Listen, I'll come back anytime.
Oh, I want you back.
Episode
please.
29, episode 90. Catch me.
So usually the old way I'd wrap this up is the question I would ask is, what would your advice be to someone who wants to pursue their passion? Obviously, I'm not going to ask you the same fucking question. That's stupid.
Why? Actually, wouldn't that be interesting?
I want to change this.
Okay, all right,
different.
all right.
So obviously we've been talking about being patient with the process.
Yeah.
And I want to give you the last word on that because I'm probably going to run with that as the title of the episode because I
Patient
love
with
that.
the process.
Yeah. So kind of give some type of inspiring kind of words to kind of wrap it up based on just the concept of being patient with the process.
In this modern day, super important to be able to look out at the many examples of other people's lives that are constantly spoon-fed to us all day without losing focus as to why your life and what you're doing right now is super admirable. Waking up in the morning is fucking hard. Some days getting out of bed is enough. You don't have to, like, I'm a person, like, I had this clothing company that I've been doing, Rocket Apparel, right? And I've kind of come at a point where I'm still making clothes, but the vision's changed a little bit because I've changed a little bit. So I'm like scrapping it. And it felt like a huge hit at first. And now I'm realizing it's manifesting. All that work you put in, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't evaporate. Effort doesn't lie. It just transforms. And I think that when we just continuously give ourselves time to be human, respect when we need rest, respect the rate at which our lives are unfolding, and are less concerned with controlling it, more concerned with just living it, accepting it, flowing with it. Not saying that you can't have goals, direction, clarity, have ambitions. I'm not saying that at all. I'm a very ambitious and goal-driven person, But I'm just saying, save space for the unexpected. And be patient with that, because all of that effort you put into this, what if this would translate to anything you choose to do, no matter what your career takes you, no matter where you end up, this energy that you're putting into everything you're doing right now is going to translate, manifest into something even bigger than you could ever imagine. And that's how I feel with myself. For me, it's about the slow build. Not many people are going to get famous. It's like you said, just hitting the lottery. Not everybody's going to hit the lottery. A lot of people are going to play. Not every single one of us can hit it, but through dedication, even setting aside like $1 a day, saving that up, letting that build, that slow build. That's really where all of the legacy comes from. That's where all of like the respect for ourselves comes from. It's respecting not the big moments, not those big cash cow moments, anything like that, those big payoffs, but the everyday hustle, the everyday intention, waking up every morning and just trying your best just to be a little bit better than you were yesterday is enough for me.
That is the perfect way to wrap up this podcast. That is fantastic. I agree with everything you fucking said right there. That was perfect. So for you guys, again, thank you for coming on the podcast. Also for coming a little last minute too. I appreciate you. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I'm going to have you back 100%.
My mom jokes I was 2 weeks late, and she said I've been 2 weeks late ever since, So the last minute works for me. Listen, my whole life is last minute,
This has been so funny. I love having you on. It's such an organic conversation. I will be tagging Kaylu in everything, so you can check out all the accounts, and I look forward to having you on.
Check out my art.
Big facts.
Look at my art.
So for you guys, if you like the episode, please share with your friends, your family, your grandma. You can check it out at thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major listening platforms. So till next time, guys, peace.